What's it gonna be today? Let's see.
My tummy's turning and I'm feeling kind of homesick.
Oh, no, maybe not that. This seems like a bit. Oh, I died. I can't. That one. I mean, who's talking about punk anymore? Who does? No. Oh, now this is. Oh, hey, any of you around from the '80s? You know anything about the '80s? I mean, what was going on? Yes, this is the one for Monday. But of course, gotta be careful of them copyrights, right? We don't want to get that flag. Oh, such a jam. We need this on a Monday. Yes. You know what this is yet? Do you know what this is? You better know what this is. You should know. Everyone should know what this is. Let's see. You got it yet? Did we hit 6 seconds from that? We can't pass 6 seconds. Oh, we'll get in so much trouble if we pass 6 seconds. But you know what that is yet? You know what it is? Okay, write in, people. This is a bonus opportunity. You got 1 week from the dropping of this episode. Write in with what that song is and why it's so amazing. And yes, if you're wondering by now, you're listening to Lofi Poli Sci. They're leaving the flower season 11. Dr. Pickering here, Lo-Fi Studios, New Orleans. How you doing, Lo-Fi? Write in with what you got, because we always want to hear your words. YouTube, Instagram is where to go. Or email, and yes, people surely do use all of these to write into the show. Now you know. Let's get it kicking with this week's top 10 music billboards to see what we's listening to lately and see if it's a little bit different from last week. Number 10. Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter lost a few places from last week. Number 9, I Had Some Help by Post Malone featuring Morgan Wallen also dropped from last week. Number 8, That's So True by Gracie Abrams drops a bit in the charts too. Number 7, Luther by Kendrick Lamar and SZA stays at the same place. Number 6, Lose Control by Teddy Swims drops on down. Number 5, APT by Rose and Bruno Mars stays at number 5. Number 4, Smile by Morgan Wallen jumps up to number 4. And number 3, 2, and 1, all the same place from last week. Same people, same songs. Number 3, Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish. Number 2, a bar song, Tipsy by Shaboozey. Number 1, Die With a Smile, Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars. And there we have it, right in with what you're listening to these days that you think should be on the top 10 billboards. I'm sure if we all write them a list, they'll probably change it just for us. Because you know Lo-Fi Poli Sci got that kind of swing, right? But now, let's get to that Lo-Fi Global News for you. That's right, the news of the day that does not play, but rather not the rhythm or the rhyme as we jive with the dime, the reel with the meal. And that's right, what you eating on lately these days, my friends? Let's go. The ceasefire in the Middle East is on. Israel and Hamas have made an agreement which entails a first phase that is 42 days long, also 6 weeks. More on that in a second. And a second phase that we'll also talk about in just a moment. But in phase 1, the following things have been agreed upon to take place. 2 weeks into the initial phase, discussions on phase 2 begin. 33 hostages in Gaza shall be released to Israel. 737 Palestinian prisoners in Israel will be released. And an additional 1,167 Gaza residents that had nothing to do with the October 7th attack that sparked the war, they will also be released from Israel. And Israeli troops are to pull back a kilometer from the border between Israel and Hamas. Now, in the second phase, firstly, this phase does not happen if it's not agreed upon by both sides during the talks during phase 1. I cannot stress that enough. They'll have 4 weeks to figure out what's going on with Phase 2 before Phase 1 ceasefire ends. Which, if they don't figure it out, the war could immediately begin right after, and there will never be a Phase 2. Now, if it does happen, right now, so far, it said that Hamas will release the remaining hostages in Phase 2. But that doesn't happen unless Israel fully withdraws. That's what Hamas wants. Hamas also, it doesn't happen unless the ceasefire becomes lasting, which I take to mean permanent, like ending the war, but it's still kind of vague. But I also imagine there's going to be a discussion about some maps and some borders and who controls what. And both parties have to agree on it. So Phase 2 is completely a question mark at this point. They have some guiding principles on the talks starting, but that's it. We won't know until those talks start in 2 weeks from now. And heads up, Lofi, 2 weeks flies by. They'll be in those talks before we know it. And 6 weeks? Yeah, that'll be up in a second. So eyes open, ears to the ground. Watch what's going down. Now, up next, we're heading to Latin America for a minute with Colombia, as the National Liberation Army, or the ELN, and the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, the FARC, have started what seems to be a guerrilla warfare against each other, which is in all kinds of violation of peace treaties signed with the government and the FARC that was supposed to lay down arms and enter into government. The FARC was the longest standing, lasting insurgency in the world, going back to the 1960s. But here we have a new guerrilla war against rival guerrilla groups, the FARC and the ELN. Because apparently some factions of the FARC never laid down their arms, and the ELN still keeps going. And there's other components of this we're not getting into today. But if you go into this story, which you should, you'll see what's happening. And Lofi Poli Sci always says one life lost is too many. It's serious, people. Rival revolutionary guerrilla troops fighting each other. And then the government is no doubt to get involved as well. And this will put a lot of innocent people in the way. Stay tuned. We'll be covering this with updates soon. Now, let's go right on over to Venezuela, then a bit north to Guatemala, as the incumbent president of Venezuela, resident president dictator Nicolas Maduro, is inaugurated for a third term after winning the election. But the major opposition candidate, who many countries recognize as the real winner of the election, he's just made his way to Guatemala and appears to be remaining there for a minute in exile. That's right, he's in exile from the country because he believes if he goes back to Venezuela that the government's going to grab him, arrest him, convict him for goodness knows what, and then who knows? Politics. Less than fun. Yeah, you know what I mean. Now, let's head far, far east of Latin America to Vanuatu. We go. Where is the country of Vanuatu? What's the flag of Vanuatu? Which language do the people of Vanuatu speak? People, do you know? Well, last month, the island country had a serious 7.3 earthquake. There's been a lot of rebuilding and trying to recover to figure out what's what. But also at the same time, the prime minister called a snap election, meaning government is completely undone and is going to be completely reelected. And being had just a few days ago. So far, it's looking like early signs. No official results yet. Maybe for you tomorrow, there will be official results. But that a new coalition government may be formed. Again. But who are the players? Who are the parties? Who will be the new prime minister? And why should you care about an island country like Vanuatu and their politics? That's a great question. But I imagine you already know. More on that to come. And a last piece of news to send you on your way for the day. TikTok is gone until tomorrow or today or the next day or who knows. The interaction of media and politics is on. And it's such a fickle thing at times. Politics definitely influences media in this case, if not controls it. But does TikTok, as a medium, influence politics? You tell me. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube to write into the show, people. Love you, Lo-Fi, and this, just a snap of what's going on in the world today.
Bring it down, like.
Always remember that Lofi Poli Sci is more than just me. It's the we that we be. Pickering, signing off.